Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about The Witcher. And no, we haven't seen The Witcher yet. We haven't watched the show.
We're trying. We only have so much time.
We do not have. Everybody's like, why didn't you watch this? Why did you wait 3 months to see Klaus? Well, actually, we didn't. Like 2 months. Because we don't have time. We don't have time. We're very, very busy. But we are going to check it out here hopefully within the next couple days. We're going to start watching it. We're not going to give a review, though, because, you know, Entertainment Weekly, they watched 2 episodes and gave an F review to it, and they got all kinds of crap for it.
We wouldn't give a review unless we actually saw it.
Right. But we are going to bring this up because this is very interesting. A very interesting article from Yahoo about The Witcher triggering people and being ableist.
I just can't.
The Witcher it's a trigger warning. Now, this trigger warning is not actually on the show itself, but people are preemptively upset about something I haven't heard anybody complain about yet.
I haven't heard anybody complain about this either.
No, which is Yennefer, who she had a hunchback at one point. She had a birth defect, and she is cured of it via magic, and people find that upsetting. Even though the books have been around for like 30 years.
Yeah, but you know, it's not right because you shouldn't tell people that are disabled that magic can heal them. So we're going to talk about their concerns they had. This is, you know, because we got to keep throwing shade at this show, right? Mm-hmm. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. Yep. We're at about 85,000 subs. Hope for 100,000 soon, so thank you for the support. So, The Witcher has been genuinely well received by audiences. It does have a 92% audience approval rating. Not good on critical scores, and a lot of that's because, well, you've got Entertainment Weekly giving it a 0. Without watching it. That's absolutely going to hurt. So we're talking about Yennefer being a disabled character in the series born with a hunchback. Throughout her childhood, she's abused at the hands of her father because of her disability. During the 3rd episode of Season 1, Yennefer, now an adult, seeks out the help of a magical enchanter to remove her hunchback. At this point, Yennefer is transformed into a non-disabled woman and later becomes a powerful sorceress. Most people know she is a powerful sorceress, even if you're only somewhat familiar with The Witcher. Though the message was likely intended to be empowering, the plotline actually reinforces a tired and harmful notion that in order to be successful, people must rise above or erase their physical disabilities in order to succeed. Vox said. Vox, of course, commented on the problematic nature of her transformation. At some point, it's Vox.
Of course it's Vox. At some point, you get the sense that Yennefer will represent a lesson about how greatness can come from the people, women especially, who we overlook the most. Which is a fine lesson to teach, except that Yennefer is almost immediately transformed into a hot booby witch. Yennefer, that needs to be her job title.
Hot booby witch.
Hot booby witch.
Okay, here's my thing on this. Greatness can come from other people, especially women. Well, greatness still comes from this woman. So, she doesn't have a hunchback anymore. She's overcoming her disability to go on and do more, and they're having a fit about it.
Here's the problem. One, the books were written 25, 30 years ago. This is an established character, right? And people were already having problems with some of the race bending in the show, or rumored race bending in the show. This is an established franchise. They're trying to, I guess, adhere as much to it as they possibly can. But this is not a current year thing. So at this point, it's like, let's take things that have an established audience, established in-world history, and change them to be more, well, they do it. Hollywood does it all the time. Mm-hmm. They change problematic things, but they didn't change this. So in addition to the plotline, Yennefer is played by a non-disabled actor. How dare she?
Well, of course, it's because she's not going to be disabled for the entire show.
Right. This is a common casting practice in entertainment. I mean, I do believe, when possible, personally, that you should cast someone who has that disability, if they're a good actor.
Yeah,
you know,
not
obviously,
just because,
yeah, if somebody can't act their way out of a burlap sack, you don't want them to carry a movie. But also, that person is going to have more insight into how it works.
Right.
I mean, that's a personal opinion I have. But according to this Family Foundation, only 2% of TV characters have disabilities. Social media users, of course they have. Twitter, just say Twitter. Twitter says...
Because it's all Twitter.
It's all Twitter. Social media users have weighed in on ableism in The Witcher. I've never ever heard a complaint about this. Ever. Warning those who may feel vulnerable to ableist triggers.
So basically anybody like them who, and it's almost always women, who are fine and just are pissed off and they want to go be mad about something. And this is coming from a woman who says this.
My one point of hesitation on Witcher is that I imagine it's incredibly damaging for some viewers to have a main character start the series with a physical disability, suffer abuse because of it, and excel once she's transformed. I'm not saying that difficult content cannot be explored, but it's ableist. I was struck with emotion as someone who spent childhood being bullied.
I spent childhood being bullied. I have no problem with it. Oh, okay. When I was a kid, I've always been heavier. I had red hair. Red hair, as a lot of you know, is apparently an issue. When I was in school, there was not many kids with red hair in our school. We had a small class. So we had 13 kids in our class. And when I was in 6th grade, besides that, the kids made fun of me all the time for being heavier and having red hair. The kids just didn't talk to me. For like a couple months, they just suddenly didn't talk to me one day for no reason whatsoever. I got told my mom put my face out for Halloween to scare people away. I got bullied and picked on all the time. Now, because when I was more empathetic to people who were getting bullied, and I usually would go run to their defense, even if it got me bullied more, and then, this is a load of shit because I was bullied as a child. So was I. You know what? So were a lot of people.
Well, this is where it's like...
I also had epilepsy. I got bullied for that, too.
This is where this comes off the rails here, because the woman complaining about this, she is not disabled. She just wasn't...
She's equating her bullying to being disabled.
She said, I was bullied because I wasn't considered pretty to become beautiful, in quotes, in adulthood, but I doubt that offers the same catharsis.
She became beautiful in adulthood. Wait, is that what she's saying?
Yes.
So I wasn't pretty, I was bullied, but now I'm hot.
So now she's a hot booby witch herself. She can, this apparently able-bodied, I'm
she's
assuming,
very arrogant too.
Now that she's a hottie, she can totally understand what disabled folks are going through, and she's gonna feel offended for them.
Yeah, so basically her argument is because she was supposedly ugly and got bullied for not being pretty, and she became pretty. She understands what disabled people would be going through if they see this movie and think that, it's not fair that she doesn't excel till she's pretty. But that's the antithesis of what this girl is saying.
We always say this and we joke. We're always anytime somebody is triggered, anytime somebody is triggered or calling for a boycott or whatever, they're triggered or offended for minority or they're whatever, it usually winds up being some white girl. Doesn't it?
I don't know if it's a white girl or not. It's a girl of some kind.
She is, yeah.
But this is what gets me. I'm worried for the disabled people for feeling like it's somehow doing the disservice to them because they can't just automatically get rid of disability and become hot and successful. Like me, who was bullied, even though I had no disability, but I became hot and successful. I'm just like, wait a minute. I can't even, my brain cannot process this. Oh.
So we have, how many tweets? We have literally 2 tweets.
But they use as an example, yeah.
One of them from somebody who didn't feel she was pretty when she was younger, that somehow...
But she's now hot, and she'll tell you she's hot.
It's like, I'm sorry there, Queenie.
Oh, she's so popular with her 13 likes. And 30 people talking about it.
30 people talking about it. So this Damon Young is troubled by the use of physical disability as a backstory.
But that was what was in the book.
That's what was in the book. The Witcher doesn't do a great job of empowering people with disabilities. There are some shows that have made an effort to get it right, like Game of Thrones. So we have 2 people who are outraged on Twitter about The Witcher when, this character's been around since the 90s.
And the one person is a chick who personally does not have disability, but because she was bullied when she was a kid for being ugly, and she later became exactly what she's mad about. I became hot when I got older. I don't want people with disabilities to think that, the only way you're successful is to be changed. And she talks about how she got hot and now she doesn't have those issues. I'm like, you just said the antithesis of what you're trying to say. I can't even.
What? And there's a whole article, and it wasn't just in Yahoo. It was on, I think it was on a site that dealt primarily with disabilities, but it got picked up by a bunch of outlets about 2 people being mad about The Witcher. I'm like, how is this even?
Well, let's look at this. First of all, it's a story and it's fantasy where magic exists because magic doesn't exist in the real world. Spoiler. How many people out there who have a disability of some kind? given the opportunity to be, for, the science to find a cure for it, or, some way to be, for it to be gone, would take it.
Well, yeah, before we move on here, I'll show you with the comments, because people have actually said that. Look at this. They've had like 1,200 comments. The message was likely intended to be empowering. You're talking about a plot from a series of books mostly written in the 90s. I'm sorry, but there's a totally other way to look at this. If you're disabled and have the ability to tap into magical powers, are you saying you wouldn't do that?
A lot of people would. Now, there's some people who wouldn't, because they believe, rightfully so, that that's part of who they are. It makes them who they are. And there's people who wouldn't make any change, and that's cool too. But there are a lot of people, they do it now. They have some kind of deformity, and they get plastic surgery to fix it if they're able to. They get surgeries to try to be more normal. This is not an out of context idea. I mean, it's something people deal with now every day.
I just love it. But yeah, they're like, sorry, writer, did you miss the part of the season that shows she regrets the decision she makes and tries to fix it? Maybe try watching the show. So many people are demanding that a character that's disabled stay disabled so they can feel better about themselves. I have cerebral palsy. If there were a cure for it, I'd use it. It's also an interesting plotline to me, losing a disability. It's a fun fantasy. I'm not going to tell people how they should or shouldn't feel, but people very vocally are just like, what the hell? It's a TV show.
It's a magical world where this kind of thing exists, Oh, that clickbait. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's an ableist plot line. So there should be people with cerebral palsy rolling around in wheelchairs fighting monsters. So if cure for cancer is found, nobody should use it because it belittles those who can't get the cure. I mean, this is a slippery...
There's some very good examples. I mean, and there's people, like I said, who I get what they're saying. They're saying that, just because she changed that about herself, she should have been successful before that too. But she was, when you've been bullied and stuff like that. I don't have a disability like that. I mean, I had epilepsy, which I outgrew, thankfully. And other than having red hair, which is apparently problematic with Hollywood, I don't have those issues. However, if you could change something about yourself and be better for it, you're going to do it. And you can still come from bullying and stuff. When you do that, you a lot of times have lower self-esteem, and you don't think you could be better than what you are, because you get this mindset of you're not worthy of being better than what you are. And I think a lot out there know what I'm talking about, because your self-esteem so rock bottom, and you think you're not worthy of that. So sometimes people just don't become better than what they are for that reason, and not because they can't be better than what they are, even at the time, whatever they have the issue is. They just feel like they can't because they've been told they can't.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and again, this isn't equating, a disability, whatever, but if you've been bullied, it's like there's part of you that you're always that kid that was bullied. Even if you become a successsucul adult, there's part of you that always stays
you're
behind.
Heavy and you lose weight, you always see yourself as being heavy.
Yeah.
This is, so I'm not going to talk to it as if somebody who would have been hunchback. I mean, I had scoliosis, but I didn't have that. You could visually see it. Luckily I was able to get treatment for it. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to speak to somebody who would be a hunchback person who had this issue, because I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't be able to speak for them.
So here's my thing. Is anyone, look, and this is a serious question. Anyone out there, I know we do have some people with disabilities that listen to Clownfish TV. Is anybody out there actually offended by this character? Because what I'm getting is you have a girl who thinks she wasn't pretty, who got bullied because she wasn't pretty. That's not really a disability,
no,
sorry.
It's not,
that's not the same thing. And actually, it's more arrogant of her to make that correlation between, well, I wasn't very pretty and I got picked on, being the same thing as I had, a disability which made my life so much harder, and that's the same thing. So I'm like, is anybody actually offended by this character? I haven't heard anybody say anything about I know people were mad about some of the changes made to the show. Other changes, like... Yeah,
I'm hearing about that, like the race bending and all
stuff
that.
Like that. Yeah.
I've heard lots about that, but I've heard nobody complain about this.
I've heard, and this character's been around since the 90s. I haven't heard anybody complain. This is the first time I've heard, and it's like they went and cherry-picked 2 or 3 people on Twitter who were talking about it. Neither one of them seemed to be disabled. And again, this is another case of it's always like these white women speaking.
Well, the one was a white dude.
Okay, well,
I don't know if she was white, but it was a woman.
Yeah, but speaking for everybody else. You know,
right?
So
I'm just like, I think it's an individual thing. Like, if you're, would you change that? Wouldn't you change it? A lot of people would say, yes, I'd change it if I could. There's a lot of people out there who wouldn't if they could, because they don't feel that makes them anymore. So I mean, it's a personal thing, but it's not something to warrant this kind of article over.
Yeah, and it made the rounds. I mean, the fact it's on Yahoo, that's kind of a big deal, right? So the actress who plays Yennefer in the Netflix series talks about it, and she's not taking it lightly either. She said, sacrifice she makes in episode 3. Transformation scene to become the Yennefer we know from the books, to make that transformation, it's huge. I think that aspect of this Yennefer is one of my favorite parts. I don't think it was crucial to make it intense. I think it's a very intense scene as it's written. She has to go through this painful physical transformation without any medicine to numb the pain. And that in itself is a very intense thing that's happening to her. I think we just have to try and get to the truth of every moment in her story to make it as believable as we can. I hope we did. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't seem to be taking it lightly. Right, I love how they put this on the actors too. And it's like, that's their job. That's their job. The script, They didn't make these decisions. No, they always do that. They're like, how dare you, well, look at what happened with Iron Fist. Look at what happened with the guy who played Danny Rand. They tried to guilt him because the Danny Rand in the comic book was written to be a blonde-haired white dude. Mm-hmm. So they cast a guy, the blonde-haired white dude. They were basically trying to shame. As they should, because that was the character. That was a character. He was an outsider, right? And they tried to shame him basically into quitting his job because they didn't like the fact that they didn't cast an Asian Iron Fist when Iron Fist was never an Asian guy. Well, we're getting Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was always a white guy, and now they're making him Asian because, don't you know, we have to subvert expectations. We have to stop these stereotypes as we stereotype the hell out of it. Ironically, Snake Eyes, blonde hair, blue-eyed Snake Eyes was created by an Asian man. Right. So it's like a double insult. The creator's Asian. He wanted it this way for a reason, but because we can't have, we can't have the white person be a blonde-haired, blue white guy be the ninja. We can't have that. Oh my God! How dare that? They have to be Asian, of course. Yeah. But that's not stereotyping. I'm like, you just effing stereotype the hell out of it while screaming about appropriation. I don't know, but this just sounds like more people being offended for a group of people rather than that group being offended. In other news, water's wet, the sky is blue. Yes. This is Twitter, but there is an article making the rounds now about this. I am kind of curious what people's thoughts are on it. Again, we have not watched The Witcher yet. I am familiar with Yennefer from the game, but it doesn't sound like it's something they took lightly. And it's a fictional character. It's a fictional character. At the end of the day, it's not real. It's fantasy world. So. I don't know. Got anything else you want to add to this? You can't even make this stuff up. They're just looking for things to be pissed about. That's it. I mean, I can't imagine, just for people, what they say about us, it's like, we're just responding to people just finding things to be pissed about all the time. This is coming from Yahoo, from freaking Yahoo. Yahoo Lifestyle. Oh, God. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.